Hi, my name is Brianna Motzkus. I'm with the Fabric Patch in Ephrata, Washington. You can find us at fabricpatch.net, and today we're making a casserole carrier. All right, so what you're going to need. So to make the Jiffy casserole cover, you're going to need a package of Insulbrite. Again, the Insulbrite is just going to be the batting that's going to help insulate that casserole dish. And make sure too that when you put your casserole dish on the countertop, you can actually leave it there as a pot holder. So this is nice for the whole heat part of it. If you're someone who just wants to carry cookies to the cookie exchange, you probably don't need Insulbrite, but it's nice just in case. So a package of Insulbrite, you're going to need two 2/3 yard cuts. You have to be able to get a 21.5-inch square out of your cut. So whether that's stuff from your stash or you're going to the quilt shop to look for some cool food stuff, you need to be able to get one 21.5-inch square and a 4 by 21.5-inch strip out of both of your pieces. So I'm using this cool groovy vegetable one and just a really nice Moto Grunge. So again, a package of Insulbrite and two 2/3 yard cuts. You're also going to cut the same pieces out of your Insulbrite. 21.5-inch square and a 4 by 21.5-inch strip. You're also going to need, if you noticed how it closes, you're going to need 2 O-rings. At least 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, probably a 2-inch O-ring would also be okay. Anything bigger than that might be too big. So you can go to the hardware store and get one, maybe see if there's one hiding in the garage. We do have a few available. These are 1.25 inches, and this is what I'm going to be using today. And you're going to need 2 of them. I'm going to use silver. You can get gold. I also have another option. Those of you who might be purse makers, you might have some jumbo D-rings. These are 1.5 inch D-ring. These will work the same way. There's 4 in a package for $5. So however you want to do those closure will totally work. D-ring or an O-ring. I wouldn't go any bigger than 2 inches, and I probably wouldn't go any smaller than 1.25 inches. All right, so to get started, we're going to start by making our sandwich first. So we're going to take one of our squares, put that right side down, put our Insulbrite on top of that. There is no true right or wrong side of your Insulbrite. It really doesn't matter how it sits there. That kind of metal piece is right in the center of the 2 polyester pieces. So there really isn't a right or a wrong side. So we're going to start with making our little fabric sandwich. We're going to start with our 2 fabric squares, right sides together. And then we're going to put that just right on top of our Insulbrite square. So you have right sides together and then your Insulbrite. You can sew on whichever side. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave about a 4-inch opening. We're going to back tack, sew all the way around, come back up, back tack, leaving an opening to be able to turn this right side out. When you are sewing this on with your regular 1/4 inch seam allowance, you can sew with your fabric on top or your batting on top. Both are fine. It depends on what you want to see and how you want to control it. Your feed dogs will not get gunked up or anything with your batting and your fabric, just good old batting. For me personally, I like to keep the batting on the top because it's a little more slippery. I know how right sides together cotton is going to act. It's going to be kind of just stuck to itself, no big deal. My Insulbrite might be a little slippery, so if I can keep him on top, I can kind of control where he's going. So I'm going to go to my sewing machine and I'm going to go ahead and sew all the way around this, remembering to leave that 4-inch opening to turn right side out. Okay, so we've got it all sewn over around all the way around, a 1/4 inch seam. Again, if you want to use a regular 5/8 inch seam, you're more than welcome to. You're just going to make your casserole carrier just a tiny bit smaller. And then you, of course, have your 4-inch opening. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn it right side out. The first thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to clip my corners. I just feel like it makes a little bit nicer of a turn when they're clipped. Completely up to you if you want to or not. And then let's turn it right side out, and then we're going to do a little bit of edge stitching. So again, just take your 2 pretty sides, reach inside there, and you're just making a quick little quilt, it kind of looks like. You can then at this stage, so after you've turned it right side out, you could do a little bit of quilting if you wanted to. A little X, you could do some lines, you could do some other quilting to make it a little more jazzy if you want to. All I'm going to do is I'm going to do an edge stitch so that I can close my turn. And that's all I'm going to do. But you can, of course, do other things. So I'm going to give it a quick press. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a 1/4 inch stitch all the way around the entire square so that I can close my opening. But you can also, at this stage, give it a good press. And then if you wanted to do a few horizontal lines and a few vertical lines to make it a little bit quilted, if you wanted to add a little bit of applique, you could do anything you wanted to at this stage to make it a little extra special. But again, all I'm going to do, press it, and I'm going to stitch all the way around it, and I'll be right back. Okay, and then I went ahead and did that top stitch. And so you're going to do this exact same thing to your rectangles. So again, start with right sides together of your cotton fabric, add your batting, and then go ahead and stitch all the way around it, leaving about a 4-inch opening to turn it right side out. Give it a good press, do that pretty little top stitch, and we'll be right back and I'll show you how to put the strap onto your quilted square. Okay, I got my strap done. Sewed right sides together, the whole shebang, turned it right side out, did my little stay stitch. Again, you could do some extra stitching to add a little quilting if you want to. It is entirely up to you how much you do or how much you don't do. And then we're going to go ahead and attach our ring of choice, whether it's the regular ring or the D-ring. I'm going to use the D-ring because I think it's going to be a whole lot slicker. And we'll go down to my cutting mat so you can see how it goes together. You'll have to decide at this point what is the right side of your casserole cover and what's the inside. So right now, how I have it, your casserole would see this. As you're carrying your casserole cover, everybody would see the green. So you have to decide for yourself. For me personally, I think my casserole should look at this pretty green, and everybody else should see how stylish my casserole cover is. So I'm going to flip it, and I'm also going to change out so I can see this pretty part of my handle all the time. So you'll have to decide that for yourself. Your pretty side that you want everybody to see needs to be face down. With your handle, the pretty side that you always want to see needs to be face up. And then you will notice that on the pattern, it looks like your handle is supposed to be edge to edge. If you can kind of see that. See how long they make you think that is? It really isn't. It really is like this. They also have you have this as raw edges and do kind of a French seam where they're going to have you pick your spot, take your raw edge, put a tiny little seam here, flip it back, and put a big seam there. For me, I find this way easier because it's not as much bulk for your sewing machine. But what you're going to do is you're going to line up one of your straps at the edge of your corner. And I'm going to have it lined up kind of right at my seam allowance is where it's reaching my corners. And I'm just going to pin that guy in place. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to take my strap. I'm going to pull it to make it fit the right spot. Again, in the corner, based off of my seam there. Take a pin, pin it in place. I'm then going to go over to the sewing machine. I'm just going to top stitch that down for my handle. I might do it a couple times. You kind of want it secure. I mean, this is the only thing that's going to be holding your casserole to your cover. So make sure that's a nice solid seam. Even if you want to make it into a rectangle where you kind of come down, stitch up, go back, you can do that. Just don't go very big. Keep it within a 1/2 inch so you don't lose all of your surrounding area. So go ahead and stitch both of those edges down the best way you want to, and then we'll be right back. All right, so here is what we did. I went ahead and did the little X. I don't know if you can see it really well. I can kind of see it pretty good on this side. Just to make it really sturdy so that when I am carrying my casserole, it's not going anywhere. And then that's what you're going to have. And then we're going to work on the opposite sides and attach the D-rings. Okay, so again, whether you have an O-ring or a D-ring, it is entirely up to you. Use what you have. All you're going to do is you're going to attach your anything and then stitch it down. Just like that. There's no math to it, no other instructions that you need. And maybe if I had a bigger O-ring, maybe like a 2-inch, it might fit a little better. But I feel like once I go to my sewing machine, it might get a little bit in the way. Whereas where this D-ring comes in is you can really just make it nice and flat. I can really tuck that D-ring in there and stitch really, really nicely, and still feel like it's going to be secured in there. So you kind of do want to, you know, fuss with it. Make sure you get it where you want to, and then kind of keep note that this is about an inch. From this fold to the point of my square is about an inch. So you can do the exact same thing on the other side. Take your other D-ring, stick it on there. Oops, the right way. And then go about an inch. You do a quick measure. Yep. And then you're just going to tack it into place. And all you have to do is, you don't have to do anything crazy, is just go back and forth right there. And so that D-ring doesn't go anywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to both sides and then show you how I did that. So you can see that I attached my D-rings. Now I should tell you, between D-rings and O-rings, D-rings you can find at your local quilt shop all day long. This is purse hardware. O-rings, anything that's bigger than probably 1.25 inches or 1.5 inches, you're going to have to go to the hardware store and get something bigger. So the D-rings are going to be stitched in much easier than an O-ring. An O-ring might make it a little bit easier to thread your handle through, because the next step is to now take these pretty little D-rings and you're going to get your strap and pull your strap through. And this is where it might look a little hard. Oh, it wasn't too bad to pull through. But the nice thing to remember, if your D-ring is too large, you'll have a whole lot of wiggle room right here where it's a little loosey-goosey. With this pretty little D-ring, it's nice and tight. I'm not losing my casserole if I go slip sliding down the sidewalk. And then there you go. There she is. I'll give you guys some pictures at the end with, you know, a casserole in there. But that's it. Super, super cute.
Thank you for watching our video. We invite you to leave a comment, hit the like button, or better yet, subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. You can also visit our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or Pinterest pages, or find all of those things and our online store at fabricpatch.net.